Ah yes, NCE, a well-known DCC system that is beloved by a lot and hated by others. NCE has a decently long history, being there pretty much in the very beginning of DCC being a thing in general. Although NCE was not the only one to use this hardware. In today's video, we will be going over Wangrow's System 1. Now, the Wangrow System 1, as far as I know, it was meant to be the high-end version of the NCE powerhouse system, if I remember correctly. And basically, these are 10 amp boosters, sort of. They are dual 5 amp boosters. If we take a look here, see we have the power here, then we have track 1 and track 2. That's because there's two 5 amp boosters in here. Now I do just so happen to have two. Two of these have Fate with another person. This booster here, I'm not sure what I'm going to try and do with it. But that's not the point of this video. The point of this video is to talk about the Wangrow System 1. For the most part, pretty much inside and out, it is NCE hardware. And because of that, it shares a lot of similarities. Like, it still has the same outside case as an NCE, as you saw with the boosters and command station before, right? Okay. As far as I know, no ground cables go between the boosters. That wasn't really a thing yet. Which makes it a little confusing. I haven't tried to connect these two together. I don't know if I will, but we'll see. And the firmware inside of these are, again, pretty much identical to NCE as far as how it sends commands to the engines, how it connects to the cabs, etc., etc. This is basically just a rebranded NCE system. When you boot it up, it'll show, Wangrow System 1, blah, 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 instead of NCE Powerhouse or Power Pro or whatever it usually says on startup. But this has pretty much all the same capability as the NCE CS2. There are other main command stations and stuff like that. It talks to the boosters in the same way. It's basically just a rebranded NCE system. Although there are some drawbacks. Drawback number 1 is this DB9 port. Yes, technically the Wangrow System 1 does have JMRI support, although you need to take a 9-pin connector here to USB, and then you need to modify the 9-pin for it to actually make the connection and be recognized on the computer. On top of that, the JMRI support is not good. And I honestly have no idea about that NCE Wi-Fi module thing that's developed by a different company. I have no idea if that can connect to this or not. I also do not know if you can connect an NCE wireless radio receiver to this thing either. I don't know about that either. Because again, this is meant for Wangrow products. This is meant for System 1 products. While it is somewhat cross-capable between System 1 and NCE, wasn't specifically designed to do so. Now, if we look here, we will see I have an NCE Pro Cab here, and this Pro Cab does work perfectly fine on the System 1. When it was my main HODCC system, I was using this throttle perfectly fine with this system. It also works vice versa. You can connect the System 1 throttle to a normal NCE system and it will work just fine, which leads me to the next part of this video. The differences between the throttles. Now, you may notice a few off the bat, but let me go ahead and connect these up and show you some of the differences. Now, just to start out here, we will begin with the differences on the body shell. I would also like to say that the early NCE throttles and the Ramtrax throttles use this same casing as well. So if we look here, we can see the port is slightly recessed into the plastic casing, unlike here where it's flush. If we look along the back here, we can see that in this case, this is a dummy battery door in case it got turned into a radio throttle. Here there is no battery door because there were no radio throttles in the Wangrow system, along with early NCE. Come along the back here, come along the top of the unit here. This is pretty much the same. It's a two-part shell. You know, it's not a whole lot different, but it is a little bit. Starting off with the cab address screens here. Now this is slightly unfair as I'm using a blue LCD modified cab here, but we'll go ahead and keep rolling with it. Actually, you know what? Let me go ahead and plug that one in real quick. Alright, here we go. So this is a little bit of a showcase of the brightness difference here. We can see that the System 1 is brighter than the normal Pro cab. That's because there's this button here to actually turn on and off the backlight on the screen. Just to show a little bit more of the differences, this brake button, as far as I know, does nothing. It might have been for a feature that was going to exist on the original NCE systems, but it did not seem to go anywhere. As we can see, that has been replaced with the momentum button here. So if you want to modify the momentum on an NCE system, you have to use a normal Pro cab and not a System 1 cab. As for changing the momentum on the System 1, I don't know if it's possible or not. I never got around to testing that. It never came across my mind. Continuing on here, we will see that we have the buttons here, and then we have the wheel that scrolls infinitely, okay? The System 1 also has those buttons, but the wheel does not scroll infinitely. It has stop points, as you can hear as my nail drags across it because it can't move anymore. Because of that, if we go ahead and... this is just a comparison of the cab settings here, right? Okay, this one instantly jumps to yard or normal, blah, blah, blah. This one here says speed mode. Right now, it's set to knob because since the knob has stop points on it, if you use the buttons to change the speed step, it's then no longer synced with the knob. You cannot use both at the same time. So, right now it's set to the knob. If you want to change it, go ahead and press 1. One moment. I didn't notice that it was changing, my bad. If you press 1, it'll go from knob to keys. And that is how you switch between the knob or the keys, right? So you can use them both, just not at the same time. You have to go in and change depending on what you want. So just like this, when you're going through the settings, when you're done, you're gonna press enter. This one says brake and recall. For the second page here says ballistic track rate, speed button, right? Okay. And then this one jumps straight into the main interface here. Right, and then this one you can do the whole thing, or you can just press that to enter into the mode. Now, let's see what happens when I plug this guy in. See, it shows up with the System 1. Go ahead and try and pause the video if you can. There you go. So that shows up as a System 1 throttle. And then the NCE here, of course, it's going to show up as a Pro Cab, version 1.3 in this case. And then everything is Hunky-dory. Again, this is what they look like when they're in the thing. It's identical because it's pulling it all from the command station. Again, this is on an NCE system, not a System 1 system, but they are fairly close to being identical. If we keep going down the controller here, we can see that this cluster here, these 6, are all in the same spot except for option and macro, right? Okay, this is where things get a little weird. We have select loco, there's the macro button, then select accessory, then your number keys. Here, select accessory is over here, so it's on the other side. Select loco, blah blah blah, and then this part here, setup, clear, add, and delete for the consist. That's all over here. Setup, clear, add loco, delete loco for the consist. As far as I know, except for some certain niche items, you can consist, you can program, you can do most of that stuff. On the System 1 here, on the System 1 throttle, you only have functions 1 through 9, unlike over here where you have 1 through 9 and then you hold down shift and then you have more. You can't do that on the System 1. There is no shift button. Is it the expand button? No, I don't think so. All right. Let's see here. 14 and 28. When it's connected to an NCE system, it will just say, you know, the usual 28 and 128, just like over here. Then of course you have the screen light button, right? Also like to say that if we put it on a little bit of an angle here, camera doesn't pick it up all that well, but some of these buttons are textured. The emergency stop button is textured. The keys here to change the speed are textured. And then the brake button is textured. Now, the main drawback for me about the System 1 is the lack of JMRI support. Even if you can get that connection to work with a modified DB9, the JMRI support for the System 1 is very, very limited. Excuse me. You cannot use the Wi-Fi track thing that allows you, that connects to your home network so that you can use a mobile phone as a throttle. That does not work. You cannot even use JMRI as a throttle. All you can really do is program via JMRI. That is about it. Let's go ahead and get to all the connections that we see here on the front. So, this is the command station. The only thing that is connected to the layout train-wise is the program track. As for which one is positive and negative, first one is positive, second one is negative, and then you have your program track leads. This unit here wants at least a 5 amp 12 volt roughly. Actually, I think the ones I used are 24 volts. Point is, says it right there, 24 volt AC max or 32 volt DC max. And the command station here wants a 5 amp power supply. Here you have the cab buses, which we all know what that is. This is what you connect your throttles into, and this is what you connect your panels into, which can either use the 4-pin straight or the 6-pin straight cables. Over here, we have the control bus, which connects to other boosters As we can see here, on an NCE system, you would also connect the ground wire on the back across all the systems. Actually, I think in this case it would only be across the boosters. But these don't have common grounds, so that's that. I don't know if these could work with each other. I'd assume they would, but I could be wrong about that. Then, of course, we have our DB9 port, have our power LED, control LED, program track LED, and then our cab LED. Moving down here, we have power. Okay, again, this one is positive, this one is negative. This one you want, once again, a 24 volt AC max or a 32 volt DC max 10 amp power supply. Why? Because once again, this is dual 5 amp boosters. So track 1 here is for the first 5 amp booster. Track 2 here is for the second 5 amp booster. Control buzz, as I said, this is where your connection to the command station goes. Here we have our switches. We have large scale, HO scale, N scale. And then of course we have our modes. Put those in run, right? Okay. Then we have these LEDs. One for power, one for track 2, and then the 2 volts. Other than that, that is about it. It really does behave like a normal NCE CS2 for the most part, or it behaves exactly like one of the early NCE DCC systems. Because again, it's really just using NCE hardware with a different name on it. Now eventually, Wangrow System 1 and Ramtrax did all go away, and eventually it was just NCE left over, to which they then revised the system into what we have today. That is about it, honestly. You know, I'm not a super big YouTuber. I do these videos as a hobby, so yes, this video is a little bit all over the place. Yes, I'm probably forgetting some things, but I also know that when it comes to the Wangrow System 1, there is not a whole lot of knowledge about it on YouTube, and there isn't a crazy amount of information on it as a whole on the internet. So if anyone has any questions in the comments, feel free to ask. I will answer them to the best of my ability, because again, there isn't a whole lot of information about this system out there, and I'm probably forgetting things. So if anyone has questions, please feel free to put it in the comments. I'm on YouTube every day. I will get back to you eventually, if not the same day. Feel free to ask any questions about the System 1 as a whole. Just as a quick summary, right? Okay. System 1 cabs will work on an NCE system. NCE cabs will work on a Wangrow system. The basic cabs and the pro cabs are fully interchangeable with each other. I don't know if wireless cabs work on this. This is missing some minor features that the common railroader is not going to come across when using it. Biggest problem with these is the lack of JMRI support, and also just the fact that they are on the old side. I believe these units are from 1998, if I remember correctly. But honestly, if you can get them for a good price and they are known working, buy them, because the command station is still very capable, and the boosters come with 2 5 amp outputs. That gives you 2 5 amp districts to put on your layout. If you can get it for $100, $150, even if you get both of these for $200, that is a decent deal. You get a good amount, you get a solid amount of capability and a good amount of power out of it. Yes, you might have to source power supplies, but honestly, I connected this one to a 6 amp 24 volt DC power supply. It worked just fine. This one was a 24 volt 10 amp power supply. Worked just fine. I spent probably 50 bucks for those two power supplies. If you can get it for cheap, it is worth it, and it'll give you a lot of power. And if you don't need JMRI, it'll serve you just fine. It really will. It's the same cables, it's the same hardware, it's roughly the same software. They are not bad. They are old, and they are somewhat limited, but they are not bad. And honestly, if you later on upgrade to a proper NCE system, again, you can sell these for what you paid for them, and they'll probably go. If I remember correctly, I got these two for 130 bucks, and then this one I got for 60 bucks with another cab. That's why I have two of these. And while I am getting ready to trade away a command station and one of the boosters, I'm keeping the cabs because they work just fine with the NCE system. And I genuinely like the fact that the throttle has stop points. I genuinely do. As real. Oh, this is what I was talking about here. You can see that I'm moving it up with the numbers, and the scroll wheel does nothing. It's because you can't use them at the same time. But yeah, that's about it. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope it gave you some more information about the Wangrow System One. I hope that in the comments, if you have any questions, it's already answered in the comments, or if it's not answered in the comments, again, feel free to ask. I will answer it to the best of my ability. That's about it. Hope you guys enjoyed this one. This is video 3 in the 25 days of videos we are doing from December 1st to December 25th. Yeah. Hope you guys enjoyed. Feel free to like and subscribe if you want to, and we'll see y'all in the next one.